Hi guys, welcome back to Nico Talks Hockey. Today I'll be finishing up the very short series here of the top three players on every single team in the NHL. Last video I did the Western Conference, and today I'll be doing the Eastern Conference. So without any further ado, let's just go over the rules again. It's just currently not projecting the future core of the teams I'll be covering. It's not the best young players. It's just currently what players are the best on these teams, right? 3-year sample size. It's kind of maybe last season being the most impactful, the one I take most into consideration. But yeah, so let's just get right into it. Starting with the Atlantic Division, the Boston Bruins. The best player on the best three players on the Boston Bruins is David Pastrnak for sure. It's Charlie McAvoy and it's Jeremy Swayman. So the Bruins are kind of, I wouldn't say maybe unique is the right word, but it is a really nice position to have where your best three players are, it's one forward, it's one defenseman, and it's the goalie. That is a really nice position to be in because it's just you have a elite player at every position. So Pastrnak, top 10 player in the league, McAvoy, borderline top 10 defenseman, and then Swayman, bad year last year, but I still believe that Jeremy Swayman is a top 10 goalie. So yeah, very, very nice trio for the Boston Bruins. Moving on to the Buffalo Sabres. Tage Thompson, best forward there for sure. You've got Rasmus Dahlin. I think the world of Rasmus Dahlin. I think I had him third best defenseman in the league. That may have surprised some people, but I think Dahlin, what he's doing on such a disappointing year in, year out Sabres team is nothing short of remarkable. And then I have Alex Tuch. You could have had some other players here. Maybe you put out Owen Power. Maybe you put UPL, their goalie. But I think Tuch is such a unicorn of a player. Just the energy he brings to the team. And on a team that just needs it, right? It's so easy to be on this team and not have the energy because of how disappointing it usually is in Buffalo. But yeah, this is a nice trio. I just wish they could finally do something with it. So Thompson, Dahlin, and Tuch for the Sabres. The Detroit Red Wings, very nice trio as well, and young, which is the best part. It is Dylan Larkin, it is Moritz Seider, and it is Lucas Raymond. Awesome trio. And you've got the goalies who eventually might join that, who are going to be part of that, just some of the best players on that team, and Augustine and hopefully Casa as well. So Larkin, number one center, Raymond, their number one winger, and then Seider, their number one defenseman. Top three players in the Red Wings. Top three players in the Panthers. This was hard to do because they are the best team in the league, and they have the best. They have the most amount of good players. Super hard to pick. Bobrovsky was somehow left off of this trio. That's how good this trio of players is. Forsling is not on this list. It's Alexander Barkov, it's Matthew Tkachuk, and it's Sam Reinhart. You have to have Barkov as your number one center, one of the best centers in the league today. You gotta have Matthew Tkachuk. He is the catalyst for turning this team from a great team into a Stanley Cup winning team. And then Sam Reinhart is their best goal scorer. So and he's proven it. It's not just some fluke. He is one of the best goal scorers in the league. Yeah. So I talked about the Edmonton Oilers having maybe the best trio of McDavid, Draisaitl, and Bouchard. I think the only one that rivals it. There is McKinnon, Makar, and Necas of the Colorado Avalanche, but there's also Barkov, Tkachuk, and Reinhart. So those are some of that's the most elite I'd say I can think of trios to have in the NHL today. Moving on to the Ottawa Senators, the best three players in this team. Really nice group here. This is the Eastern Conference has just a really nice. When you look at the top three players in each team in that Eastern Conference, there's just some really nice trios here. You've got Tim Stützle, you have Ullmark, their goalie, and then Jake Sanderson, who is quickly blossoming into one of my favorite defensemen in the league. He impresses me so much with how young he is, and also how just how good he is. So Stützle, number one center, Jake Sanderson, number one D, and then Ullmark, certified top 10 goalie in the league. And, two of them are very young, so another great position to be in for the Senators. The Canadians, this was really interesting to do. I almost put Slavkovsky there. Demidov will eventually be there. I thought of putting their goalie there, but I went with the clear two, which was Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield. But then I got their newest acquisition in Noah Dobson. Noah Dobson will, he'll be. I wonder. I think he'll be on the same line as Hudson, Lane Hudson. But we'll see. Maybe they break him up and they want to have they don't want to have two very offensive defensemen on the same pairing. But both will have power play time. And I think currently, Dobson is better than Hudson. I think Hudson will eventually surpass him. I really do. But I've only seen one season of Hudson. I've seen a few from Dobson. So I decided to put Suzuki, Caulfield, and Hudson. Suzuki, Caulfield, and Dobson. Sorry. Moving on to the Tampa Bay Lightning, second last team of the Atlantic here. It's Nikita. This was so hard. This Lightning was one of the hardest ones to pick the three best, because it's Nikita Kucherov. Got to go with him. Can't keep the Kucherov off. I went with Vasilevsky. I mean, he's one of the best goalies still in the league today. So we have to get the goalie there. But where do you go? Do you go Victor Hedman? Their best defenseman still on their team. You go with Jake Gensel. Unbelievable playoff performer and just such a consistent player. Do you go with Braden Point, their number one center? I went with Braden Point. I think that it was so close. I mean, it was so close. It was as close as you get. So this was the hardest. I spent like 15 minutes trying to make this decision, honestly. I went with Braden Point just because of his, they haven't won a cup with Gensel. So I looked at the impact. I looked at the impact of what they bring. And I think that you lose Gensel, that would suck. But it would suck tremendously. But I think you can still be the Lightning. You can lose Hedman. Just because he's getting up there in age now. You lose Braden Point and the impact that he brings as the number one center. You're no longer the current Tampa Bay Lightning. So I decided that Kucherov, Vasilevsky, and Braden Point were the best three players on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Moving on to the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Toronto Maple Leafs, this one was kind of easy. You got Austin Matthews, right? You got William Nylander. I didn't go with Tavares, though. I didn't go with any of the goalies either. I went with Chris Tanev, who, in my opinion, is the second best, right behind Jacob Slavin, the second best defensive defenseman in the entire league. Just every single game he brings the exact same work ethic and the exact same, exactly what you're getting in Tanev. You can always count on him to be the defenseman that he is. So for that reason, I have Matthews, Nylander, and Tanev. Moving on to the Carolina Hurricanes, now in the Metro Division. You've got Sebastian Aho, their best player, not even close. You've got Jacob Slavin, the best defensive defenseman in the entire league. And then you could have Svechnikov, maybe. Maybe you put Freddie Anderson, depending on how high you are on him. But no, you gotta go with Seth Jarvis, I think. Seth Jarvis is their most promising young player. It's a really nice trio here, right? You've got Sebastian Aho, who is a number one center, for sure, solidified. Slavin, the best defensive defenseman and a top 10 defenseman in the league. And then you have Jarvis, who we'll see. They're looking to play him on second line center. We'll see if he's a center. He sticks at center. Maybe he's got that versatility, which would just add to his amazingness and his just how impressive he is as a player. But Jarvis, just really like this player. So he is that part of that top three trio for the Hurricanes. Moving on to the Columbus Blue Jackets, you've got Zach Werenski, one of the best defensemen in the game today. I have Adam Fantilli, who is now part of that top three. I think that he really impressed me last season, and I think that, it's only going to get better. I think he is currently one of their top 3 best players. And then I also have Kirill Marchenko, who is turned into an absolute goal-scoring machine. I don't expect it to stop. I think this is this is who he is. So yeah, 2 of those players are very young. It's not like Werenski's old. Yeah, nice group there. Nice trio there for Columbus. Moving on to the New Jersey Devils. This is one of the most impressive trios to have when they're healthy. Is Jack Hughes, it is Nico Hischier, and it is Jesper Bratt. Bratt is one of my favorite players in the game. And then Nico Hischier and Jack Hughes are 2 of the best players in the game when they're healthy. The Devils will win a cup as soon as they can figure out their injury issues. I really believe that, because they have all the pieces there. I really think that. You've got the number 1 goalie in Markstrom. You've got Hamilton still there and still producing when he's healthy. A 1-2 center punch of Hughes and Hischier, it's just not fair. They're so young. You've got Bratt there. Still got Mercer. You've got Meyer. It's a really impressive team. Their defense is really young and really good. Luke Hughes is only going to get better. So yeah, it's just that trio of Hughes, Hischier, and Bratt, very impressive. Hopefully they can stay healthy this coming season. New York Islanders, really good trio, but on the wrong side of the age group there. You've got Sorokin, not that old, but you've got Horvat, Bo Horvat, he's getting up there, and then Matt Barzal is actually older than most people think. So this is the core that won't stay the core. They will pass down the keys to Cole Eiserman, Matthew Schaefer for sure, Eklund, and whoever they draft in the next draft or 2, because I expect them to be in the bottom of the league for at least the next season or 2. Moving on to the New York Rangers, this is a really nice group here. Got Igor Shesterkin, who I think is the best goalie in the league today, best goalie on the planet. You've got Adam Fox, a top 5 defenseman at the bare minimum. I'm not listening to the Fox haters. I think he's absolutely still a top 5 defenseman. And then you've got JT Miller. Now, he is a definitely divisive player, but when he's on, he is like a 110-point player who's just, he's your number 1 center when he's on. So, yeah, Shesterkin, Fox, Miller, very, very nice trio there for New York, but is very much a win-now trio for sure. The Philadelphia Flyers have a nice trio. It's just, if they can surround this trio with up-and-coming, really nice elite talent through the draft, that's the job of Danny Briere and company. You've got Travis Konechny, you've got Travis Sanheim. Didn't know they were both Travis actually. And you have Matvei Michkov. Michkov will probably be a Flyer for life. Konechny, one of the most my favorite players in the league, just because he plays. I love the element of physicality that he plays with, and just he's so tenacious. So I think he's criminally underrated most of the time. And then Sanheim, talk about underrated. He's a lot like Parayko, where they're quite underrated as defensemen, and the defensive element that they bring to the game. Moving on to the Pittsburgh Penguins, the second to last team that we're covering here. The top 3 players on the Pittsburgh Penguins is Sidney Crosby, of course. Brian Rust, who I still think very highly of, but he is getting up there in age, so Penguins need to trade him, like yesterday. And then you've got Erik Karlsson. Could have had Letang, could have had Malkin, could have had Ricard Raquel, but no, Karlsson is not that far off from his 100-point season. Erik Karlsson is still, he can still be quite effective. I think that, obviously his best years are behind him, but that's why the Penguins need to trade him like really soon. They need to trade Karlsson, Rust, Raquel, see if you can trade Jari, but you'll probably have to give up something for that. They need to get rid of everyone and go into full tank mode. Keep Crosby for the future generations. But yeah, that trio there is not staying for long. And the last trio, the last team I want to talk about, the Washington Capitals. who are the best 3 players currently on the Washington Capitals? Well, Alex Ovechkin's one of them. Dylan Strome is another. He found his home in Washington, and good for him. I love Dylan. I loved him as a Blackhawk. He didn't fit the future plans for Chicago, but I'm really glad that he found a kind of a permanent spot here in Washington. And the last player of the trio in Washington is John Carlson. Could have had Tom Wilson, but I think that his best years are, again, behind him. And I think John Carlson still produces at a level that is pretty impressive for a player that, is up there a little bit in age, and has been through a lot of injuries as well. Just thoroughly impressed with the caliber of play that John Carlson brings every night. So yeah, that's my that's it. That's not only the Eastern Conference best 3 players on every team in the Eastern Conference, but that is the top 3 players on every single team in the NHL. Thank you so much for watching. That is it of that little mini series. If you guys like the content, if you guys would like and subscribe, that would mean the world to me. I'll be having more prospect videos talking about prospect pools, ranking prospect pools, and then going over my top 20 prospects, top 20 NHL affiliated prospects in the coming videos soon here. So keep an eye out for those ones. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.